Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. I have a little show and tell for you today. A lot of people have been asking me about my lighting stuff lately, specifically on my MA3 OnPC rig. So today I just wanted to give you a little bit of a closer look on the lighting console that I built out of a guitar pedal board. So getting right to the point, this is what I'm talking about. This is literally my lighting console, all on this guitar pedal board. It doesn't weigh very much, and it has everything that I need to control MA3 OnPC. As you can see, this thing is pretty slim, lightweight, and it just has all of the things on top of the Velcro. What happens is I put a laptop on this console, this pedal board, and the laptop actually runs MA3 OnPC, which is a lighting software if you don't know, and it's what a lot of gigantic tours and professional people use across many different aspects of live sound and concert touring and theater and all this stuff. Grand MA is a giant company in the lighting world. Because of this, it's also very expensive. Some of the consoles can get up to like $80,000 for the full-size version. Now me, I'm an audio guy, not a lighting guy. I'm kind of becoming a lighting guy, but only out of necessity, I swear. And I never thought that I would be able to buy or even come close to using an MA3 console or any of the programming. So I thought, well, why should I ever even learn the software in the first place? But then when I found out that you can simply buy a node, which is still pretty expensive in the small scheme of things, I think, and just use my laptop to control MA3, it got me thinking. Now I have a friend named Zach who, if you've watched the channel, you've seen on some of the other lighting videos, and he's an MA wizard. He's been my mentor learning MA, as well as a lot of awesome people on YouTube. And I've gotten confident enough to the point where now I'm running all of my shows on MA3, which is super exciting. Finishing up on how this kind of works is there's a computer on this board, and the computer is simply networked with an Ethernet cable. You might be able to see my little adapter here, and there's an Ethernet cable that goes from this board to my node on stage, which the node is what unlocks the parameters and allows me to control lights with MA officially. Think of the node like a stage box. Basically, it connects with the computer or my mixer, my console, and allows for DMX output at the node itself. This half rack node also unlocks enough parameters to be used with ArtNet or streaming ACN or some of the other DMX over Ethernet protocols. So I actually get about 8 universes worth of parameters unlocked for this one node. The node has 2 outputs locally, so currently I'm only using 2 universes, but I have the ability to use more. So hopefully that makes sense. The computer is the console, and the node on stage is my stage box. I can also use the node nearby and have the outputs locally next to me if I need the DMX cables to land at my console. Before I put this down on the stand and set it up as I would use it in a show, let me talk about a couple of the things that I wanted in a console. One being that it was affordable. This is only a few $100s to build as opposed to a $30,000 console. Goal number 2 was to have it very portable. And this, as you can see, I've been holding it up the whole time. It probably only weighs 10 pounds at the most. When I bought the pedal board, it also came with this soft case, and for my uses is enough to transport this around. I can really take my whole front of house with me in one go. I have my wing console in a rolling SKB case, and this goes right on top in that bag, and I can take my whole front of house in one trip from the van. The third goal I have with this was that it was user-friendly, and by this I mean I just wanted to be able to use it without having to miss something. So I added this mechanical keyboard, I added a trackball mouse, which gives me this nice little scroll wheel as well, which is nice when you're adjusting pan and tilt in different aspects in the lighting software. And then I also have a place for a second monitor. So my laptop goes on this side, and I have a second touchscreen monitor that goes on this side. So I have 2 touchscreens, which is also really helpful when working with lighting software. As you can see, I have two of these Akai APC Mini Midi controllers that I'm mapping through Chatain, which is communicating through OSC to MA3, all this nerd stuff that I had to learn to get this to work without MA hardware. All of this is connected through this one USB hub on the back, and this is connecting this other USB hub as well, anything that needs USB 2.0, and you can see that everything's kind of pre-connected, and all I have to do is drop my laptop on this guy and plug this one USB-C cable into my laptop, and then there's a second Thunderbolt cable that links my laptop to the screen, and then we're all set up. It's a lot less setup than having to, you know, set the laptop up on the table and have this all be put on the table and plug all the cables in and set it up, and there's a big mess of stuff. I just wanted it all in one unit that I can pick up. Nothing's falling off, everything's velcroed into place, and this is just the ultimate MIDI controller that I've come up with so far for controlling lighting software. All right, this is what the setup looks like. This is a keyboard stand that I bought on Amazon, and it fits this pedal board perfectly, which is highly convenient. And all I do is just get this to sit on the keyboard stand like so. It's on wheels, so I can move my front of house around a little bit if I need to. The wheels also lock in place, which is nice for when I am in a position that I like. The next step I do is actually unfold these. These do lay flat. They're just tablet stands that I screwed to the bottom, which gave me the right height and angle that I wanted for my displays. And then what I do is I grab my PX13 laptop by Asus. This is a ProArt laptop, and I just fold it in half like this, which is kind of sweet. And this one goes on this side. And then all I'm doing is plugging in this one USB-C cable, which is gonna interface with our dock. And that's gonna give me my keyboard and my mouse. And that's also gonna give me access to these MIDI controllers as well. The next step here is I add this touchscreen. This is like a really cheap touchscreen that I found on Amazon. I'll send links to all these products too down in the comments. There'll be an Amazon link for some products. And then if you have any other questions too about anything that I missed, definitely drop it in the comments. I'm happy to share some links and share my experience on building this, or answer any questions that you may have. All right, so I have got MA3 open here. You can see this is the software. This is my file that I've put together over the past few months of learning this. I'm not gonna get into MA3 and my file at the moment. We can make another video on that if you guys want. That's like, I feel like a whole can of worms we could get into. But you can just kind of see what the console would look like and how I'm using it. I have my colors on this side, and then I have like my positions and movements on this side. This is probably really ugly if you're an MA3 user. This is probably like, not exactly what you would do, but again, I'm learning this stuff as I go, and I have Zach as my mentor, and this is just what I've been working with so far, and this is just my progress in learning. Now that we have MA3 open, let me show you how these MIDI controllers are gonna talk to MA, because right now they're off and they're not actually talking to MA3. So what I have to do is actually open this software called Chatain. I'm not gonna get into how to set up Chatain, but basically Chatain is a open source software that allows you to talk between MIDI controllers and DAWs, or different softwares and other softwares, and it's a very cool piece of software that you can interface many different things with. And I actually found this from a video from a YouTuber. I'll drop that link also either up in the corner here or down in the description, but he made this video on how he set this up, so that's full credit to him. But as you can see, now my MIDI controller has lit up, and how I have this set up, if you do know anything about MA, is I have this set to all my playbacks, which are basically like the faders and the buttons you would have on the real console. So let me get back to MA3 here, and you can see that if I open my playbacks, you can see that when I press these buttons, these things are lighting up on the screen. I'm not sure if you can see those, but these are moving my faders on the screen when I move the faders on my MIDI controllers. That way, when I make sequences and things that I want, to have on my faders, like my dimmers for my different fixture groups, for example, and my bumps and my strobes and all those things, I can just assign those to my playbacks, just like you would on a real console, and then these are activating those playbacks via OSC communication on MA3. I also have a couple of singular sequences added to these playbacks as well. You can see that some of these buttons up in this corner are just activating these sequences by themselves, and that is also something you can do in Chatain. You can have a MIDI note control one of these sequences or anything, really anything on MA. All right, friends, I hope you enjoyed this little show and tell of my console, so to speak. I know a lot of you have been asking about kind of what it is and how it works and what I'm doing with it, since I'm not really a lighting guy and lighting is kind of a smaller part of my channel, but I appreciate all of the questions and comments I get about it, and I've been definitely having a lot of fun learning MA3 and doing lights, and it's just been a great time learning all of that stuff and building these types of things. And I have more things in the works when it comes to building this little console and future versions of it. But I hope this answered some questions and created a few more maybe, and feel free to drop those questions down in the comments. I'm happy to answer. I'll also try to put as many links as I have in the description as well, so that you can shop for some of these pieces and maybe build some sort of console thing of your own. All this to say, I learned MA3 is more accessible than I thought at the beginning, and I'm really glad I jumped in and started learning it, because it's been a really fun time, and I'm excited to keep learning more and keep doing lighting and keep doing sound and keep making videos for you guys. Once again, thanks for watching. Drop those questions, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.